guys, I'm E-House.
What's up? I'm Andre.
And today we're talking about a chest ring. Maybe?
Perhaps.
Yeah?
I'm excited. You know how excited I am.
I know he's excited. I'm still just confused about what we're talking about. Wait, hold on. He's fixing it. Oh, it's a belt! Oh!
Yes, it's a belt.
Wow, you could have fooled me.
I mean, people who are watching this are going to get fooled real quick.
Right? Oh my god, craziness.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about the SpeedQB Molle-Cule belt. And I love the name. It's ironic. It fits to exactly what this thing is.
Well, I mean, I think it's a relatively creative name, and it's definitely the type of thing you wouldn't hear commonly, so if nothing else, it'll set it apart in the marketplace. But enough about the name. Andre, you're the one who bought this belt.
Yes, I did.
Obviously, that is not going to fit me. It's a little small.
Way too small.
But more about that later. What do you think about it so far?
So I bought this belt because I was inherently how do I put this? I was very excited to see what they would come out with. Because a lot of airsoft belts on the market today aren't as good. I mean,
battle belts are kind of tough.
They're a hit and miss. For some people, if they have a bigger gut, it sits down lower and they have no problems. For me, it rides all the way up. So I wanted to see what SpeedQB / the SYG crew could bring to the table. And honestly, just from the form factor itself, they nailed it. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on. Obviously, it's a battle belt. What do you need? You need your mags, you need your pistol holster, and a dump pouch. What do you really need? But what I really liked when I initially got it was how rubber this padding right here is. This will really grip. I put it on and I ran all the way down to the field and I came back and it held true.
Well, the thing is with this is if you've ever handled like an HSGI Sure Grip belt or something like that, this is pretty much the exact same material. It's that nice neoprene rubber. It's not like you get on some of those Condor battle belts where it's like, we just had one out for comparison. It's that plasticky kind of hard stuff that they put in like 3 little places and say, oh, it's gonna be grippy. It's really not.
Not grippy at all.
Yeah, this on the other hand,
if you never held the Sure Grip, the other comparison I could make is that, you know, that drawer stuff that you lay out and put your placemats on into, that stuff is just as grippy as this, if not more grippy than this, I would say. But this is perfect for what you need. It hugs your body really well. It's meant to sit up a little higher on your waist. I'm not a fan of that. It does just well. I made it a little bit tighter on the side so I can get it on just a little bit below my waist so I can be more comfortable. That's just how I like it. But overall, the form factor of it is actually really, really nice. I mean, you got all the essentials. It is a two-step belt, or what do you call it?
well, it's an inner-outer belt system.
It's an inner-outer belt system.
Because that's the main gimmick of this kind of is. Oh my God! It separates. So, like you have your IPSC style belt, and I have my Ronin Tactics belt.
Right.
And both of those are also called inner-outer belt systems, where the inner belt goes into your pants.
Not this guy. This guy goes on the outside. Just like a regular battle belt, like your Condor ones, or
your Sure Grip, or any of the other ones you're familiar with.
Basically how this is set up.
But the idea is that you can have multiple of these Molle-Cule strips, and you can have multiple setups ready.
You can buy as many as you want for from the SpeedQB website. Just looking at my notes here, the Kooks Tips are $25.99, so that's not that bad, honestly, considering it.
And the inner belt by itself is $60
$60
with one Molle-Cule strip.
No, it's quick strip.
Quick strip, whatever.
Right. So for $60,
with a quick strip, you get them. Okay, for $60, you get the Molle-Cule belt with a quick strip.
There you go.
Happy?
I'm happy. You gotta get it right. Okay, this is for our audience.
All right.
If they don't know what's going on.
Well, I don't know what's going on. I never know what's going on.
Like last week. But anyways, so for the quick strips of $25.99, it's really cheap considering, I mean, if you just buy the belt with the one quick strip, $60. For the whole setup with the belt, 2
one
quick
of these
strips,
pistol tacos costs as much as a quick strip.
Right. So, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But anyways, for the setup that I bought with the 2 quick strips, dump pouch, and the belt itself, it was $100. Some people are a little bit, confused as to why it's $100. You're getting a lot of stuff. You're getting a belt, a dump pouch, and 2 quick strips. I mean, that alone, you're saving yourself about $20 right there. So if you buy it all separate, you're going to be spending an extra $20. So in my eyes, I wanted to see what they brought to the table with all the different things.
Well, what I'm seeing with it is, like I said, it's a lot like one of those inner outer belt systems that we both use in a little bit different capacity. But the idea behind this, I think, is that it's more high profile and it's more comfortable, because one of the weaknesses of some of those inner outer belts is when you start really bending over and doing a lot of stuff, having those magazines and everything really, really tight to your body, as a lot of other inner outer belt systems have them, sometimes you can end up leaning into them. That depends on your body type and your preferences, but this gets you that cushioning and stands things off of your body a bit. And I know some people like having items stood off from their hips, because that allows you a little more freedom to get inside if you're doing a beer can or an index grip with some of your magazines, or it gets you a little extra room to work with if you're drawing your handgun. So this kind of stands it off your body a little more, which I know is why some people like things like the HSGI Sure Grip as opposed to a Ronin Tactics belt or something like that.
So with this guy, it's actually really cool. I love my IPSC belt. It's great. It does everything that I need to. I like this because I can just put it on really quick. With the IPSC inner outer belt type deal, you have to pull this whole thing off, and then you have to take off the belt. It's a little bit more work. Not that it's a bad thing, but I just like having able to just pop the buckle off, and I take the whole thing off if I'm uncomfortable.
The other thing is you can't really run your IPSC belt, at least not as well or as readily, with like gym shorts or joggers or some of the, because if you look at the photos of the SYG guys, most of those guys are wearing like shorts and stuff like that, and other pants that may not have the room for like a 2-inch inner outer belt.
Like the paintball pants. I know some of them wear the paintball pants. There's no, I mean, I have some. There's no way to put a belt in, which is kind of stupid, but I mean, they're paintball.
So this lets you work within that in order to still have that tradable system of an inner outer belt, so you can have multiple setups ready, but you also are able to run it with a wider variety of apparel. Now, if you're like me and you always wear at least like jeans or something, then that may or may not be a pro or a con, but if you run gym shorts or joggers or paintball pants, then that might be something that you're seriously considering.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest things, is just having the multiple setups.
Yeah, that's kind of what they went for here, is being able to fit it across all sorts of different clothing, and as well as just keeping the same form factor as the IPSC belts. Now these guys do come in 3 different sizes and 3 different colors. So you have medium small, which is a 26-inch to a 36-inch. They can be adjustable. One quick thing that I want to note that I'm kind of glad that they thought of this is when you do adjust your belt to either smaller or bigger, it has little Velcros here on the side of the buckle, and they keep you can fold it up, roll it right over, and then put your Velcro right back on, and you have all that extra, what do you call this? Extra belt.
Extra slack,
extra slack. Be tucked away, and you don't have to worry about it. That's the initial, I had a hard time kind of figuring out exactly how I was going to do it, and then it hit me. I was like, oh, I just roll it up and fold it over. It works fine. So that's a nice, cool thing. I like that little touch of it. So then you go on to medium large, which is 31-inch to 41-inch waist size, and then extra large waist would be 35 to 45-inch waist. So you have a lot of different rooms, and that's where he's sitting at right now. All right. So the 3 different colorways that you can get this guy in is in the void black, so everything's going to be blacked out. Then the smoke gray, which is what I got here, and last is burnt moss green. Interesting color name, burnt moss green. But so we went over the cost of what this guy comes. You can buy in 3 different configurations with just the inner outer belt for $60. And then the whole setup for $100, and then the extra quick strips is $25.99, and the dump pouch is $27.99. Now, moving on to the dump pouch. I love the dump pouch. Don't get me wrong. There's just a couple things that I would have liked to seen. We were talking about this before we started filming. A hole on the bottom would have been nice.
A little bit of drainage.
So it doesn't turn into a margarita. You can stick your little straw in there, and you can start sucking away.
Well, because if you're playing outdoors,
unless you want that feature.
Yeah, well, if you're playing outdoors in the rain, having just a little bit of drainage would have been nice.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying anything huge, because you might want to put small items in there, but like a couple of small, like couple millimeter grommets might not have been a bad idea, but at the same time, you also do have that padding in there, which is meant to protect the contents from hard concrete. But I think you could have balanced that out by having just a couple of small drainage holes right in the center bottom, surrounded by that padding.
For sure. Unless you like the feature and you want to drink some water out of there. Who knows?
Yeah, extra Camelback.
So moving on, one thing that I kind of thought was a little bit weird is not being able to roll this guy up. Now, Eric brought up a really great point. You can store these away. It's just being able to, if it had some sort of roll up, you can kind of fold it over, then roll it all together, and you have like a really neat little package. I mean,
yeah, you can carry that in any kind of messenger bag or anything.
Or just be in a little backpack, just toss it back there and you're good. Would have been nice for me to be able to roll this guy up. I personally love my dump pouches being rolled up because I got to store them in little odds and ends places.
HSGI.
Love it. Love being able to roll it up, making everything nice and small, stick it in my range bag, and head out to the field. I love that. Not being able to fold this out, again, not a huge deal. It's foldable, it's malleable, whatever.
It's not a huge deal breaker,
but it would have been nice.
But it would have been nice just to have a buckle.
Right. So that just covers the dump pouch, the basic dump pouch. Really nothing else to say about it. The quick strips are really thin. When I first got it, I was really interested as to why it was so thin, but again, it makes sense because, I mean, you really don't need this to be super thick. I mean, you just slap it on there, put some Moly pouches on there, and you're good to go. So that was one thing that kind of struck me as a little bit weird, is being it so thin, but then thinking back, it makes sense.
Now, that's the thing, though, is if you wanted to, because bear in mind, this is made for SpeedQB, SpeedSoft format play.
Not entirely. Not entirely. I mean, there's some people out there who
it can go any way, but it was made by SpeedSoft.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, that's their main target market.
Right.
So, one of the things that
not to say that if you're Milsim, you can't pick this up.
No. I'm not saying you can't either. I'm just saying that bear in mind, you're not going to want to load this up too, because that is a little thin. You do have plenty of Velcro real estate, so I'm willing to bet if you put like 2 rifle mags, 2 pistol mags, a dump pouch, and a handgun on here, you'd be good to go all day.
Yeah.
But if you tried to really load this up, because I know some people run their HPA tanks on their battle belts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that would go. Like, you might start seeing...
Not a huge fan of it. It hits you in the ass. Not a huge fan of that. I don't like stuff hitting me when
I'm thinking if you ran like an HPA tank on this, you might start seeing some of that Velcro peeling off a little bit, just because there's no form of like plastic stiffener in here.
It's not over rigid.
What I would say, again, as like a very moderate suggestion, if user feedback ends up justifying this, is maybe a couple of vertical plastic stiffeners at intervals in the belt, because then if people start really loading this up and they're having issues with it rolling off, then just those vertical plastic stiffeners every like 4 or 5 inches might prevent that rolling, but still let you roll the belt up horizontally.
Yep.
So that's my idea at least. But again, that's gonna depend on user feedback, and I'm just saying, if you load this up, I mean, you can see here, dump pouch, pistol mags, and pistol holster, that's not going to be a problem. That's your standard kind of fare for either a CQB battle belt or a secondary line battle belt. If you're looking for something you can really load up with like 4 gas blowback rifle mags, 2 pistol mags, a medical kit, handgun, you might want to consider something a little stiffer.
Or just go to a plate carrier at that point. If you're loading everything up, you might as well just put on
it's gonna depend. So, but I think for its intended audience and as a second line in conjunction with a plate carrier or for a lightweight kind of loadout, I think it serves the purpose admirably.
Perfect.
Just bear that in mind.
So overall, I'm enjoying this belt. I can't wait to get out and play, trying to get a little bit more feel for it. Again, I haven't been able to play with it yet. I've just been kind of dicking around in the backyard, in the field, just kind of playing with it.
We've been doing, your practice with it, because practice, like a real try hard.
Yeah, I try hard. I'm sorry, guys. This is me. Pros.
Oh yeah, we're so pro. And then the last thing I want to mention real quick too is this is. Some people have been talking about this belt, like the cost of it, like, oh, it's $100 belt system, and
you don't have to go with the $100 belt system. It's $60 if you just buy the regular one.
And honestly, for that $60, just evaluating, not even talking about the dump pouch or the extra quick strip, for that $60, I can't really think of a battle belt I've handled that is better. Because the grippiness is really well done. The hardware is very thick. Some hardware you handle on some of those battle belts that you get that are cheap, or some of the gear you get that's cheap in general, it's very thin in the hardware and you can get it to flex very easily. This seems like tough stuff on the outside, at least, or it's facing toward where the BB strikes are. So I don't think this is gonna crack or break on you. And the stitching generally is good. I'm not going to say it's, Mayflower or
Right.
Haley strategic level, but this is also not Mayflower or Haley strategic price.
Right.
And you also have very even Moly spacing, which is one of the big markers of quality for any type of Moly or PALS webbing gear, is when that webbing and the columns are matched up well and they're evenly spaced all the way across. That should be your first giveaway that, hey, someone actually paid attention while they were making this.
Right.
So, I mean, the quality of the belt is, for its price range of it being, I would consider a relatively bargain priced belt compared to my Ronin Tactics at least.
Or my IPSC belt. I mean,
yeah, I'd consider this, pretty much at least on par or near the top of the heap for a budget style battle belt in terms of quality. I mean, I don't know, what denier the Cordura is and stuff, but
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's at least durable enough, and it's at least well constructed enough that I think it's going to hold up to, again, that lighter weight kind of use.
Right.
Now, one suggestion I would have, again, we'll see how this happens, but double stitching on the outside here, where the actual, the inner and outer portions of the quick strip meet, might not be a bad idea, but all the Moly straps are double stripped and reinforced, or double stitched and reinforced. So we'll kind of see. I don't think this will be the primary load point, but that might be worth looking into, is getting that double stitched.
Right. If you're like me and you're into the whole, kind of branding type of thing, I enjoy it. I mean, you got SpeedQB up here, inside the belt, you got it inside the buckle, you got it on the quick strips themselves. I mean, it's the full package.
Well, they're obviously very proud of the design. I think it's a good design. I've got a couple of feedbacks of, maybe they could reinforce a couple things here and there in terms of the construction, but the design, I think, is very well executed.
It's definitely different.
And there was a lot of thought put into it, I think.
I like the form factor of it just on its own, just because if you've seen some other battle belts are just little strips, and this actually has some contour to your body itself. It's cut away enough so it's kind of stylish.
Well,
I like that.
The other thing is, that reminds me of my 511 VTAC belt, is it didn't have the angular cuts like that because it was a harder belt with a plastic stiffener, but having those different cuts for contouring to your body makes it so that as you're leaning or as you're doing different things, you're going to have a little bit more comfort as you run into the edges of the belt. And I think that is something some belts ignore to a fault. And this belt seems like they want to have a little bit of back support and just a little bit of cushioning for as you're leaning to the left and right. As you notice, this would line up with where you put your pistol.
Right.
So if you are leaning and you've got that little bit of padding right where the muzzle of your pistol would otherwise be hitting your thigh. Or just the holster
sticking past.
Yep. Then you're going to actually have a little bit more comfort there, just kind of a buffer to help keep you a little more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's a lot of thought. The first thing, the one thing that comes to mind, is it like a paintball kind of, where they put the pods in the back? That's what it kind of reminds me of. So, again, like Eric said, put a lot of thought into it. They know what they're doing. And
we wanted to address one point, too. Yes, this belt is designed and made by airsofters, and no, that's not a problem. For some reason, there seems to be this stigma about airsoft branded gear that's made and designed by airsofters for other airsofters. I don't get it.
Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I love my, real deal combat gear as much as the next guy, my Haley Strategic and Mayflower and Cry Precision and Ronin Tactics, Drown Me in Nylon, but I think this represents kind of a trend that we've seen that I think kind of started with the Milsim West pouches, that they were having Tactical Tailor OEM for them, where they're recognizing the needs of our specific market and saying, hey, we're running these games or we're running this format, and we think we have an idea for a piece of gear that will cater very specifically to our audience, and then they create that piece of gear. And I think that's a good thing. It's going to push the market in newer and more interesting directions, and I'm excited about that. So if for nothing else, that's at least why I'm optimistic about the continued evolution of things like the SpeedQB brand, the Milsim West collaborations, and some of the other, nylon companies and nylon makers like Wild Bill Tacticals, an airsoft guy, who are continuing to cater more and more to the airsoft market. I think that's going to evolve to suit our needs very well, and I'm excited.
Exactly. And airsofters build it to exactly what we need. But no, so get that out of your head. Airsoft branded stuff is fantastic. I mean, I love it. I can't wait to get out and playing with it.
And
so overall, I'm enjoying this belt. I really love it. It has everything that I need for it to do and not slip like some of the other belts out there. So SYG, you guys did a really great job if you're listening.
And from the resident gear whore, I think it's a very interesting design. I think it has a lot of potential. And if nothing else, I think this first iteration is a very good first iteration. I have a couple of suggestions for maybe if the feedback from the rest of the market justifies it, maybe you could change a couple of things here and there, but they're very minor. And I think that SYG did a good job of designing this belt for the job that they intended it to do. And I'm excited to see what you think about it as you continue to use it.
Right, I'm gonna do a full review of this later on down the road, and I get my full feedback exactly what I like and what I didn't like. So, all right guys, overall, great belt. If you haven't picked it up, definitely go ahead and check it out. Like I was saying, check it out. You can't go wrong with a $100 one. You get 2 quick strips and a dump punch. You don't have to buy the $100 one if you don't want to. I don't care, buy the $60 one. You'll be happy with it. It's better than your stupid Condor one, which slips up and goes all the way up to your chest. And then what are you gonna do? Now you got a plate chest rig.
Put some straps on it. Wear a chest rig.
There you go. Put some water in it because it doesn't have a drain. Just sip it out like margarita. Go check it out. Thanks for watching.
I'm at your house.
I'm Andre.
Peace.
Take you later. Talk to you later.
My God. The problem is the more we film together and the more we just hang out and